What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Her Lounge podcast. Today, I am solo. We were originally going to have a guest today, but I guess there was some miscommunication and it didn't go through. And so it didn't allow me to have enough time to call Marissa to come in. So it's just Rob and I today. We're solo. And before we get started, you guys know, it's funny. I was telling Rob this morning that I was on my way to get my eyelashes done. And I'm really not, I pay attention to politics, but I'm not into politics. So it was, I was looking for a podcast and I was listening to my own podcast, which I never do, sadly. That would give me my numbers go up, huh? If I listen to my own podcast, shit, I need to do that.
Let's go back and download them all.
I'm going to go download them all. But I didn't want to listen to anything that had to do with politics or anything like that, just because it's everywhere, on social media, on the news. It's like I turn on even YouTube and it's like videos of it all over it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I didn't want to have it. And it's not really political, but I think you kind of know what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. So I just saw a post yesterday, guys, and it just kind of like, I kind of felt a certain way about it. So we'll get into it, but before we do, you guys know I like to start with something positive. And so here's our thought of today. Everything happens on a mental level before it manifests on the physical level. This is why it's so important to get your mindset right. You have to believe in yourself no matter what the external circumstances are. Strengthen your vision and have hope that things can get better. And I say that because of the following conversations we're about to have, because I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before. Sorry, Rob. But in the past, I've said that how I kind of make my conclusions of, or my decisions on where I stand about certain things is I look at both sides and I kind of find the inconsistency, and then I'll go on YouTube or whatever other place just to kind of see where everybody is. And that's kind of how I make my educated decision. I don't even know what you want to call it. But that's kind of how I do it, because I just, I'm not going to just go by the first thing that I see on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Just because you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
For sure.
But yesterday I came across this account where it had that Washington Democrats, and this might piss off some Democrats, because they may not feel this way either, because not everybody that's a Democrat, feels like everything the Democrats are doing is right, and vice versa. But it says Washington and Democrats push mandatory LGBTQ focus sex ed for kindergartners.
What's weird to me is I didn't even know that was a thing for kindergartners.
Why would you even be thinking about sex in kindergarten though?
Like what quantifies sex ed? Like I almost thought, like, is it just like referring to your classmates as like different pronouns, or like what exactly could they possibly be teaching a kindergartner about sex education?
When I saw that, my brain just went like, I was like, wait a minute. We just talked about how sex ed class starts in 5th grade because you're kind of starting puberty around that time. But we're talking about kindergarten here. They don't even know the difference between, they just know you're a boy and I'm a girl. So what are you going to educate them about? I'm sorry. Like I said before, and I'll say it again, I am open to whatever you want to be. I will call you whatever you want to be called. You can date whoever you want to date, but you're not going to educate my child about anything that has to do with LGBTQ in school. You are not the parent. You're not going to educate my child about these things. You know what I'm saying? How do I know how you're teaching this? What are you teaching exactly? You know what I'm saying? It's like, for you to even say mandatory to me is kind of like, mandatory, bro? No, bitch. You are not going to mandatory nothing on my child, And let me tell you why I feel it's crazy. I think I told this story whenever Valentine was on here, when I said that Mickey was in the 3rd grade and she had a friend in her class whose parents were a lesbian or are a lesbian couple. And Mickey said, we're talking about 3rd grade here. Okay. And she said, oh, my friend has 2 moms the way I do. And she didn't understand that her moms were a couple. You see what I'm saying? She said she has two moms because she's got her real mom and I'm her stepmom. You know what I'm saying? So she thought, oh, I have another friend who also has two moms. And my only response to her during that time was, I said, well, it's a little bit different. Her moms live together. We don't, I'm with daddy. And you know what I'm saying? I was kind of finding the best way to explain that to her because one, I didn't feel it was in my place to explain, that's obviously her mom's doing. And then two, I think if she doesn't understand it yet, I want to leave her innocent until she really understands it. But for you to push it onto a child in school, absolutely not. You are not going to do this to a little bitty kid who still doesn't understand. More than likely, it does not discriminate anybody based on if they want to look like a boy, if they want to look like a girl, if, you know what I'm saying, if they're black or they're white. I know Penny, when I take her to go play, to them, they're just kids.
Yeah.
She just says niña y niño.
Right.
So she has no idea that little boy that's playing there is an Indian little boy. She has no idea that little boy is Asian. She has no idea. She just says niña y niño. So if she's 2 and she has no idea, I'm assuming that in kindergarten, you're the same way, no? I mean, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
I don't remember anything like that. Like, I was like blown away. I was like, absolutely not. And there's, like I said, I feel like I'm pretty neutral person. I accept people for who they are. If I don't understand something, I like to learn about it. That is the number one reason why. And I want to respect anybody who feels and you know what I'm saying, is a certain way. Just that's the reason why I wanted Valentine on here, is because if there's anybody else out there who feels the same way, like, help me understand it so that I can respect the way you feel, right? And he educated us. I felt like I understood it more after he was on the show, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like you need to be teaching it in school.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was trying to look up the history of that bill because it was presented last year and it looks like it didn't become adopted. But if I go through like the amendments and the notices of how many times it was, debated over, it was debated for almost, I guess, 2 years. Like they were trying to go to pass this or get it through. And it didn't, as of right now, it's not officially obviously a thing. It's not a bill or a mandate, but it's just an odd thing to try to push for. So like hard for, I guess.
And then the other thing, basically, guys, I know this is going to be this account that I follow is very one-sided, and I get it. But I don't feel like I'm one-sided. I feel I'm kind of in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
I think y'all surprise people with how open-minded and like welcoming and accepting you are for like whatever the hell you want to do.
I think I'm just kind of in the middle, but there's just some things that shit is getting like I told you yesterday. I said, Rob, look at this shit. Like seriously, I even sent it to Marissa. I was like, we are getting out of hand here.
What does she say?
Like she's like that? She just says, really? And I said, exactly. I'm like, there's so many other things, like people not getting their damn stimulus check and ain't got no jobs, barely can feed and pay their rent. Those are the things we need to be worried about, not passing this bill that you're going to teach LGBTQ sex ed. I'm not saying it's not important maybe to the people who present this bill, but it shouldn't be on the top of the list.
Yeah.
Like, hello. Right now, do you not see what's going on in our country? Like all the fucking bullshit that's happening. And now, see, I'm cussing and I said I wasn't. And that, man, but when I get into these topics, to me, it frustrates me that regardless of what side of the political spectrum you stand on, come on, we both have got to see there's bigger issues in this world that need to be solved than us focusing. I don't know why the focus lately, and that's another reason why I had Valentine on here, is because I had seen it so much more, this transgender like agenda, and I don't even want to call it that, but I feel like it's being like pushed a lot more, and I don't understand why.
I don't know, that the cultural war that we all hear about right now in the news is more real than ever. Like it's super divided. And as a matter of fact, yesterday, did you see the Gina Carano tweets and news? Mm-mm. She got fired from Disney on The Mandalorian because for a few reasons, but mainly two. Like one was that trans people were upset she didn't put pronouns in her Twitter bio, but instead she ended up like jokingly put like beep boop boop like R2D2 noises in the bio. And then she made another comment about how people getting deplatformed and ridiculed for their political beliefs is similar to Nazi Germany, and then goes into this, like, posted an article and a picture from that time with the Nazis and the Jews, and this whole conflict was going on, and people were like, she's comparing, being scrutinized for being Republican to Nazis, and they're like, you've been calling the right Nazis for the last 4 years, like Russian collusion and whatever. So they fired her yesterday. So she was trending like cancel Gina Carano, and sure enough, Disney canceled her.
No,
they fired her. Yeah,
that's like the Sephora girl that I've been telling you about. Listen. Since when is it bad for you to be whatever political place that's what pisses me off so much. It's like I've never went and shook someone's hand and introduced myself as I'm Mariswole Herrera and I vote this way and I'm also this religion, and you know what I'm saying? It's like why? When did that matter? Like I feel like we as people need to treat each other well. Like, just be good, be a good human, be kind, be nice, be easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be someone who's open and easy to get along with. You don't always have to be so controversial. Like, why does I feel like everybody lately wants to find a reason to fight for something. It's like,
what's the golden rule? What is it? Does it treat others the way you would like to be treated?
Yes.
Right? So there's like one that I heard that's like the platinum rule, and it's like treat someone as if it were you or something like that. And I was like an escalation to that, but it's true. Like, people have kind of forgotten that about our human, friends and people.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, it drives me bananas because I'm not going to argue with anybody over politics. Yeah. Like, when my husband, talked about how we voted, you know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, that's fine that he wanted to put it out there. And the bullying I was getting of the DMs, like, you better not stand the same way your husband. Excuse me? I better not stand? Whoa. Listen, girlfriend, like, you do not pay my bills, like, if you don't like where I stand, then don't follow me and unfollow me. That's why I got to the point where when people were trying to, like, literally bully me and talk shit to me, it was like I was just sending the waving emoji, like, bye. Yeah. Don't be on my social media then. I've never been about politics. I've never been about anything else except I want for women to worry about just being a better female in general. Like, if there's better women, I don't know, I hate to say this, but women make the world go round. So if there's better us, there's better men, it's a better world. Hello, better children.
Oh, dude, man, women are so important. Like,
totally.
I know we talked about this in the past. I appreciate women, and it's not just for the physical attributes. It's for the fact that, like, y'all carry the humans into this planet.
Exactly.
So this actually leads me to a question I've been meaning to ask for a while. It's like, when we talk about Her apparel and Her lounge and the Her brand, what actually got you to start Her? Like, what was the motivation behind the women empowerment, and not exactly like feminist movement, but just like the women empowerment and the bad boss bitches out there that can do whatever they want? Like, what was the theory behind it?
So I didn't know what I wanted my name brand, my apparel to be. At first it was Thick Fine.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
So we went with Thick Fine at first because I thought it was funny, and I wanted it to be kind of inclusive. Like, you can be thick and fine too, and you can be thin and fine as well, And then when I talked to my creative director, he was like, yeah, so that's a very one-sided. Like, what if you have a thin girl? What is she she feels excluded. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, because that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking thick, fine, like the song, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay. And so that was kind of how that, and so he's like, I really encourage you to find a new name. And I was like, okay. So I basically was like, what can I name it? I want it to be something that just is like, represents female. And then I was like, I don't want Marisol. I don't want like Ocean and Sun. I was like trying to figure out like what
Ocean and Sun?
Yeah, like my name is Ocean and Sun. Okay. Like, I didn't know what to make it. And then I was just sitting there and I said, well, I would like for my brand to be good enough one day so that my girls can take it over. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what would they be proud of? Would they be proud of just some random name, or would they be proud of, something that stands for women, And then I looked at my last name, my new last name, Herrera, and it's Her, like her. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's the name. I have female. This was before baby number 3 was coming. You know what I'm saying? Before, or baby number 2 for me. But before we had the third girl, I'm thinking 2 girls. I'm a girl. Her. It's her apparel. And when I text David, he was like, that's it. It's perfect for you. He goes, because you're very about women empowerment.
You're gonna have to add a third R to it now.
Right? And he was like, he's like, it's you. He's like, it's, you like the women empowerment. You like to empower women. He's like, it stands for that. One of the first designs, which I have not put out yet, it says I am her, and it's like this sexy girl, but she's kind of is it like anime? Is that style, like that Japanese? And he actually had this amazing artist to actually make this doll for me as a favor. So he's pretty well known, but he's friends with him. So he's like, listen, what is the least you can charge for this character? Excuse me. And she's really cool, but she's got short hair like how I used to have.
The bob?
The bob. So she's very Japanese anime looking, because not only are my eyes, so he made it look similar to me. So she's got the eyes plus the bob. So it's kind of like very anime. So I never put that out. And I was telling him, we had a meeting on Monday, and I said, I really would like to put that out. I want to put I am her. And I said, and I also don't think I do a good job of explaining what any of the designs that I put out mean. I take pictures, right, to promote my collection, but I don't think I do a good job of you really understanding the statement. Like for me, when I made 100% that mujer, right? I didn't want it to say 100% that bitch, because that's really the same. I'm 100% that bitch, right? I don't want to be that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I want to be that female. You know what I'm saying? I'm her. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it was like, I'm not going to use bitch, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's cute. I know a lot of brands out there kind of do it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to make that word okay, because I feel like if women make it okay, then it's okay for men to say it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of how I feel. If we make it okay, then don't be mad when a man calls you that, because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we've made that word okay because we use it so loosely, as if it's just nothing. So true. I said, fuck that. I'm not using that. I'm not going to have that word in any of my stuff. So that was that. But I want things that remind you when you wear it, whether it be if you wear it to bed, whether it is that you wear it out, that when you put on the shirt, you're reminded of, you know, like mujer poderosa. I'm a strong woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm that mujer today. You know what I'm saying? Like,
when you think of a mujer that's not yourself, who do you think of? Who's that empowering, like, female figure?
To me, it's my mom and my Aunt Lily.
I think a lot of women might have that. Yeah. Hopefully they have that woman in their life.
I think for me, it's my mom, my Aunt Lily, and my grandmother. I think for me, my dad's mom. Nothing against my mom's mom, but I know before somebody in my family listens to it. But, you know, I didn't grow up with my mom's mom, so I was really more close to my grandmother, you know, my dad's mom. So that's who I grew up with. And I think those are the 3 women that I kind of took a little bit of everything from, you know what I'm saying? Like, my grandmother, like, was super duper nice. I think too nice to all her kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was just amazing, you know? My Aunt Lily, I think she did very well, the way she raised her kids. You know what I'm saying? So I think I take a little bit of how she's done things. Like, I think she's a little bit more open-minded. She's an overbearing mom. I will say that, just because my cousins will say, and I'm like, I know, but it's your mom. One day you'll get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, you know, I don't really know how else to explain it to you guys, except for when you have your own children, you'll see where she's coming from. But I get it, because my mom was just as bad. You know, my mom was super strict. But I think I kind of took a little bit of each one, and that's kind of where I kind of said, okay, this is how I want my kids. That's why I don't want to be overbearing. I don't want to be like over strict, right? But I also don't want to be your homegirl.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We were having this conversation the other day. Like, do you know? So, would you say that you're a helicopter parent? Be honest. No pressure here.
I think I can be.
Okay.
I can't say I'm always like that, because, for example, like Penny left with Lisa right now to go to her house, I think anybody else would have been like, fuck no, you're not getting in a car with some other person.
Right.
And, I'm not in the car with you. So I think at the very beginning I was, because I think I talked about this, how I wouldn't leave the house, even though I had a babysitter. I'd work from our dining table so I could watch how she was taking care of Penny, just to make sure. I don't know what I was making sure of, to be honest with you. Like, I was just scared. She was my first child, I guess. And so I was like super duper, like over the top. Like, I was watching her feed her one time and I said, can you like lift her up a little bit more? Like, my lactation consultant said, like, I'm all like,
Lactation consultant?
I know. I was so bad. And she just kind of like picks up Penny. It was just a little bit of this. I'm like, and her little arm is in the back. Can you kind of get it to the front? I was just like, that's when Pete finally like had to sit me down and said, listen, we decided to get a babysitter because we needed to work and you were not able to focus because you were so focused on the baby. So what's up? So I think, I don't know. I can be, but I'm not always.
I was trying to find exactly the styles because there's permissive, passive, authoritative, helicopter. There's like a lot of different variations of parenting styles. I'm sure some people know exactly what they are, but the helicopter parent always comes up because I think when you have your first kid or you first have to start being responsible for kids, you are absolutely like, where are they at? What are they doing? What's around them? Like, is the area baby proofed enough or nerve proof enough? It's just a part of having that first kid, I guess.
Yeah. Then the other thing was I felt like I wasn't motherly enough too at the very beginning. You know how you'll see people say, I'm nobody without my child, or
Sure.
I didn't find purpose until I had a child. For a while, I felt like I'm such a bad mom because I've never felt like that. I'm like, is there something wrong? Like, no, like legit. Like I almost did like a little survey. I started asking like my friends, like, did you feel like you didn't have purpose before? Like, like it was a whole thread between my friends. And they're like, some of them were like, yes. Some of them were like, I think I'm a better person because of them now, but I don't know that I found purpose. And I just don't feel I found purpose after having Penny. Like, and maybe it's because I had my child at an older age, so I already knew my purpose. Maybe I was mentally a little bit more mature versus if I would have had my baby earlier on, I don't know. I didn't feel like she gave me purpose, but I get it. I know it's a figure of speech, but like when I've gone to like some of these mom groups and I hear like, I kind of felt like a bad mom. I just kind of was like, damn, well, what's wrong with me? Is it the I never wanted children mentality that is seeping in? You know what I'm saying? Because I never wanted children before. And Rob, it was so funny. I was listening to our last podcast, and everything you were saying, I was like, oh my God, that was so me. That's how I felt. I'm the female version of Rob back in my days. I remember. I wanted my space. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Like, hey, I didn't want, like with my ex, it was kind of like, hey, that's your side. This is my side. And then I thought about, wait, one time he went out of town and it was like pretty dope. I forgot about that. And I was like, this is so, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking about those things. I was like, my God, that was me right before this child, right before I met Pete. And I think sometimes it takes like for you to meet the right person.
For sure.
And for you to feel like, because my mom used to always say, you're going to feel like something's missing in your marriage. And you're going to want children. You'll see. And I was like, I've been with my ex for a long time. I feel zero desire. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, none. And so it's weird because I felt like, even though I jumped into I feel like, and for some it's not a long time, but I feel like I was only out of a relationship for almost a year before I got into another married relationship now, to where I felt like maybe that gap wasn't enough time. But it was weird because when I went into the relationship with Pete, I never felt like this was too fast. What am I doing? Like, do you really want to do this again? Like, you know what I'm saying? You just got out of a long-term relationship a year ago. You didn't even give yourself enough time. But it was weird because he never made me feel like I couldn't be me. And he never made me feel like nothing that I suggested or entrepreneurial ideas that I presented were dumb. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, it was more like, oh, this is how things work. Oh, this is what a team kind of is. You know what I'm saying? This is how things, okay. And then the whole children thing came about. And then it's like, so that's why sometimes I don't know if like all that independence of me being on my own, me taking care of myself, not needing anybody. I mean, my parents didn't put me through college. My parents didn't pay my bills. None of that. You know what I'm saying? I lived at home and I still paid bills. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it was all of that kind of made me, I don't really know, but sometimes I'd be feeling guilty because I mean, I love my child. I mean, there's like
nothing you wouldn't do, obviously.
Nothing I wouldn't do for her, but I don't feel like I found purpose just because of her.
Yeah.
I feel like, honestly, my point of view is if I didn't have purpose before, how can I show her what purpose is? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's why I didn't like when people like friends or acquaintances or even anybody I didn't know this, let's just call them entertainers, would talk about having kids. Your life for sure changes, right? When you have a kid, even if it's a bonus baby,
Sure.
if it's not yours, life just completely changes. But they would go as far as to say, like, you will never understand like what life really is about unless you have a kid, which I completely disagree with. Like, you could probably vouch for right now with that same sentiment. Like, I kind of already felt like I knew where I was going, what I was doing, what I was trying to, accomplish in life before the baby. And then after you have them, obviously it enhances that. But it's not like that's the only reason you live is to have a kid.
Exactly.
Not everyone's going to be like that.
And I've never been like that. And like, that's why I said, I don't know if that had to do with me, me not wanting children. I really don't know what the reason is.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I didn't know who I was before having a child, I don't knock anybody who had children before. There's a lot of people who mature super early on too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially women. I know we mature faster than men. So a lot of women who, had their children at a very young age, and you know what I'm saying, they grew with their baby. Let's just say they were like a teen mom. Y'all grew together. Yeah. It was like, that's a different, dynamic versus me. I had already lived my life. I had already finished school. I already had my business. So like for me, it was like, yes, this is something I'm ready to do. I feel ready. And I also felt like I had something to teach my child versus we're learning together. Obviously I'm learning to be a parent because I don't know what it was like to be a parent. Excuse me. I mean, besides being a stepmom, but I didn't know what changing diapers was like because I didn't get Mickey when she was a baby. So I don't know what anything of the sleepless nights or any of that was. Not that I said that they're fun or anything like that.
Glad
but
I dodged those.
You know what I'm saying? So I just kind of feel like I just didn't know if, like what made me a bad mom, because even Pete was like, you're not even crying when I had her. Yeah. Sorry guys, Pete is out of town and I'm just having to send him.
Multitasking like a mofo.
I'm having to send him instructions for the Airbnb. So he's like, you're not crying. And it was like, it was weird. I was processing what I had just done. It was I don't know what it's like to do shrooms, right? Because I've never done them. But I literally was like, whoa, this baby just came out of my vagina hole, legit. I had this baby in like doggy style position. I didn't even have my baby like, you know what I'm saying, like most people. I was on all fours. She came out, and then I'm watching my husband cut the umbilical cord. I'm watching her being handed to me. I'm watching the placenta be put in front of, like delivering the placenta. It's getting put. It was like, for me, it was really slow-mo, like, wow.
And you're about to do it again the same way?
I know. Yeah, I'm about to do it again. I know. The same way. Yes. I'm doing a home birth. Should God permit. But yes, I'm hoping everything is fine so that I can deliver at home. But yeah, I mean, for me, I was processing everything. It was like a really like and I'll say it again. I felt like you can't tell me I can't do shit after that. Like there's nothing you can tell me that I can't do, because I just felt like I created life. It came out of me, and I fed that child from the same body.
Oh,
how
you did.
Crazy!
You breastfed,
I breastfed.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? I mean, if you think about it, how freaky and crazy that is.
Oh, dude, all the time. I think about it all the time. It's just so bizarre. Again, and again, going back to the appreciation of women, like that is absolutely insane that
It's
you can do that.
And we're gonna. And here's why I was a little offended.
Segueing into another article that Marisol sent me.
This is why I felt a little offended, and I get it. I accept anybody that wants to transition into who they feel like, but please don't take away from a woman.
This is going to be Taboo Talks.
Yes.
The title's going to be Taboo Talks.
Because exactly.
Or taboo talk.
Because
Yeah.
it is. It's
you're not
just
supposed
crazy.
to touch on these
yes,
things, you know,
you're
or
not.
voice
It's like,
your opinions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said to myself, I'm like, why have you been so like kind of scared to stand what you believe in? You're not a bad person. You don't judge people on what they want to do. When I get a little bit like, hold up a second, is when you're trying to make everybody follow
same exact way.
follow what you want us to follow. That's when I have the problem. Let everybody make their decision on their own. Let everybody make their own kind of like conclusion about certain
Without
things.
scrutinizing them
Yes,
for it. Yeah.
exactly. Like, we'll go back to the Sephora girl because I've been wanting to talk about her, and Marissa didn't really want to talk about it.
Okay,
She's like, I don't know. But check this out. So I don't know if this is true or not because I didn't look this one up, but it says male models flaunt pregnant bellies on the runway. So it's these men walking in like fashion, like it's like a fashion thing, and they have fake pregnant bellies to prove the point that men can have babies too.
Okay.
Because now Harvard, calls women. So ladies, check this out. This is why, again, I felt some kind of way about this because they said Harvard calls women birthing people. Now we're birthing people.
Now you're birthing people.
Okay.
Versus
a woman who gives birth, I guess.
Okay.
Because not all who give birth are women.
Harvard.
Okay. Here's my problem with that. Listen, again, I will accept whoever you want to be, whatever you want to be. If you want to be a male, a female, I don't care what you want to be. But at the end of the day, the scientific function that is happening with your body is your only women can create life.
Yeah.
That you look physically like a man is one thing. That you mentally feel like a man, I get it. But you are doing a function that only a female can do.
Facts, Marisol.
Sorry. I don't care what Harvard says. Come on now. Harvard? Really? This is what the kind of shit you're going to put out? No. Like, come on, guys. At the end of the day, in order for that, if that person's really a man, where is he going to deliver the baby out of? His asshole? His penis hole? Where?
So the one I'm finding is from 2 years ago, and it was it was a weekend during Chinese designer Xander Zhu sent male models down the London Fashion Week men's runway with an unusual accessory prosthetic pregnant bellies. Their bizarro bumps were highlighted by equally wacky fashions, including baby pink tracksuits and a matching.
That's exactly what's on here.
Okay, and a matching towel flung around the men's neck. Why though?
So obviously these were just republished again. Like these things are coming up again because they're wanting to push an agenda, and that's what makes me mad. That's what makes me so upset. Like,
Yeah, that anti-masculinity thing is really bizarre.
And that's another thing. Why don't you want a man to be a man?
Somebody
Let
sent me
them be.
somebody interesting sent me an article about there was an MSNBC article where China's seeing that, again, we're not trying to be super political, but it's in the same vein of what you said. China's seeing that too many of their males are becoming effeminate, and they're making sure that their men are manly and not so many of them are effeminate. I was like, I wonder why, because a strong culture needs really masculine men in order to be, a strong culture.
I mean, that's why I said this whole feminism thing when we're just like, what does it even mean? I don't know, but I can accept that there's two different roles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that. I have zero problem with that because guess what? I can do the same thing a man can do. You know what I'm saying? So I am not in any way threatened by a man. You know what I'm saying? Whatsoever. And so to me, it's like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But when you're trying to make this an agenda and push it on people and put it out there so that you can be like, yeah, that's right, we should. Just like now they want you to call your baby in your stomach a baby.
A baby.
Because you don't have the right as a parent. If you haven't heard that, guys, please look that up. Baby. Because you as a parent can't decide what the gender of your child is.
Oh, right. They have to get old enough to decide what they want to be. Is the theory behind it, right?
Yes. I'm sorry, but I got a blood test. Clearly showed that it was an XX chromosome, which means what? It's a female.
It's a girl.
XY means it's a boy. So, with that being said, how can you deny science?
Easily, Mariswole, apparently, when it fits the agenda. You know, it wasn't until recently that I realized, and it might have been you that told me, or we were talking about how everybody starts off as a girl.
Yes.
Right? Everybody starts off with XX. That's like, I remember when you said it, I was like, oh, that's like 7th grade, 8th grade science, and I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, we all start off as females, and then our body parts kind of split, and that's when the whole thing happens. So that's why, to me, it's kind of like, bitch, are you for real? Like, when I was watching that interview, I said, a baby? I'm going to call my a baby? No, ma'am. Listen, I'm having
Can't
a
say
girl.
ma'am. Can't say ma'am.
Oh my, see?
All right, so NBC says, China tackles masculinity crisis, tries to stop effeminate boys. Some fear China's young boys are becoming physically and emotionally weak, causing a crisis of masculinity. But no, not everyone agrees. So China, you know, for all the craziness that's going on with our relationship with them, are onto something with, our populations, our boys are becoming a little too weak. You know, we can't recruit them into the military. We can't make sure that they are head of household if they are too effeminate, essentially. But in America here, in the best society to ever exist, it's like, nah, we need more effeminate males. We can't have this toxic masculinity. It's really weird,
I get
man.
it. When did toxic masculinity come about? Who made that up?
It's a good question. It's
who made that up?
Twitter.
Jeez.
Loud people on the internet.
That's why I told you, like, I just can't sometimes. Like, I'd be watching, it's funny, like, I'll be in the shower and Pete will be like, what are you watching? I was like, oh, I'm watching this girl do a review on this luxury bag. He's like, what? I'm like, I just can't. Like, I can't anymore. Like, it's just too much out there. Like, here's another one, ladies. And I want, and again, if I offend anyone, I apologize. I'm not trying to offend, but I just really want for us to sit down and really think about these things.
Just open conversation.
It's an open conversation. And I really want you to think, if that's fair, that they're taking an ability that a female can do. Only a female body can do. It's the most amazing thing you do. And I know for some women, I was that woman before, don't care to have children. It's not a big deal for them, right? And that's fine. But at the end of the day, you got a human superpower that no one can have. Even if you decide never to use that human power, you know what I'm saying, of creating another life, because that's pretty dope if you ask me. You know what I'm saying? I get it, But check this out. Now, they also, going back to that, you don't call women who are pregnant a pregnant woman, you call them people.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
Right.
Now it's not called breastfeeding. It's called chest feeding. Hospitals tell midwives to change language to accommodate trans community to chest feeding.
I feel like this is what we need.
Exactly. Chest feeding. Listen, if you don't know how hard it is to breastfeed, I ain't calling it no damn chest feeding.
I didn't know until some of my closest friends got pregnant and had babies and couldn't, produce milk or had to do all kinds of stuff.
It's hard. I was that person.
Oh, yeah.
I was that person. I had a hard time producing. I was eating a lot more calories just so I could keep making, and I was barely making any to feed her. You know what I'm saying? I still have to supplement sometimes.
Don't your breasts get like hard and can't produce milk? Or how does it? Is it just doesn't?
If you don't keep pumping. The thing is you breastfeed, pump, so you never have a break.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You never have a break from your fucking nipples just being sucked, It's like, wait a minute. You want me to give that credit to who? No. Like, I'm not calling it a chest. It's a breast. Now, if you have small boobs and you want to call it a chest, okay. But, like.
Hey, show love to the small boobs.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I mean, I have not, trust me, they're only here because I'm big right now. When I'm back to my normal self, there's nothing there. Trust me, Pete will tell you. So to me, it was like when I read chest feeding, I said, that's it. That's it. I didn't even want to keep scrolling. Like when I saw this and I was like,
that's it, Rob. We're doing a podcast.
I said, what else now? And it says, now the next one is, my baby is gender free and so am I. What? My baby is gender free, guys. You have a gender reveal party now. You set your nursery based on what the baby's going to be, right?
I feel like all those bad gender reveal parties, you made it even worse to continue that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what's his name? The comic, the
Which
guy from
one?
Africa.
Oh, I'm drawing a blank.
Trevor Noah.
Oh, okay. What about him?
Didn't his whole thing about remember because that fire started over
In California?
there. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Brief.
So he
vaguely.
said
What did he say?
you shouldn't be having gender reveals party
Oh,
like
my
gender
God.
reveals. You hear me? Gender reveal parties because who are we to decide what gender the baby is?
Oh no, I didn't know that was his approach to it.
Oh, you got to hear. You got to hear.
No, I'd rather not.
You got to hear Ben Shapiro's
Okay.
version of it. And you know another thing I like about Ben Shapiro, guys. If you've never heard him, he's not. Even though he'll straight tell you he's conservative,
Yeah.
right? He still will call out both parties when when they mess up.
For sure.
And I appreciate people that are like that. Joe Rogan's another one.
Yeah.
He doesn't like take sides,
Yeah.
but he's kind of like, this is where they're both fucking up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of shit I appreciate whenever you can acknowledge that there's neither one of them is perfect.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, call it what it is, you know? So when I see stuff like that, it's like, y'all are going too far. Come on now. A baby, bro? No. A baby is born and you find out the gender and you know what the baby is. If the baby later on starts to show, not even a baby, because what is it that your brain doesn't like really get fully understand? I forgot what age it is. If they start to say things like, if you see little signs like, gosh, my baby's kind of very feminine. And let's just say he's a boy, right? And you just kind of like, you observe, and should your baby come to you in your child, because at that point they're probably no longer, like Valentine said, he knew he always felt like a male since he was young. He dressed like a male. He had a boy haircut. He knew. So, and that was at 7th grade. He knew he felt a certain way is what he said. But in 7th grade is when he was like, this is who I am. This is who I want to look like. So when that happens, that's when I think you as a parent have to be like, okay, you seem to understand and you seem to know this is who you want to be. Then that's who it is.
It was funny because somebody had brought that up to Jordan Peterson. I know I brought him up and we talked about him on the last episode, but they were talking about babies and toys, and that's always kind of a debate too. Like, do you give him the car, do you give him a doll, or do you let him choose or whatever? He's like, and he went to this really simple explanation of like, well, look, because he's a social psychologist, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, the girls will more like 90+%, 95% of the time pick the doll because it has a face, and girls are more likely to pick toys with faces because of the maternal instinct that is instilled in a woman. Whereas men go for the physical, innate, just the objects. They go for just anything they can just play with that doesn't necessarily resemble a human. I was like, oh, okay, that makes total sense. It's just in their DNA. So it's not like we're forcing the car on the boy and the doll on the girl. They will, in their own minds, gravitate towards the thing that is instilled in them. Typically, we're talking like 99% of the time.
I don't care what Penny plays with. I have guns. She has guns, water guns. You know what I'm saying?
Nerf guns.
Yeah, Nerf guns. She's got a football. You saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a troll football, but she's got a football. She's got dolls. I actually never bought her dolls. Those have all been purchased by my mom or someone else. I've never bought her a doll, and I know that's really sad, but I just always wanted her to have educational toys.
Sure.
So I stay away. Like when you guys gifted her those stacking toys, I'm like, yes, I'm so glad. I'm always
cool.
afraid whenever someone gives something and they give like a doll. I'm like, another doll, no.
Yeah, we love games, especially like that trigger, like, critical thinking
Yes,
or whatever.
exactly. That's the same way
Motor
I am.
skills.
Like a lot of her games are like like these locks that you have to match the number and the key has to be able to open it. So although she doesn't understand it yet, this is the function I wanted her to kind of learn, that you turn a key to open the lock. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like for me, those are the type of toys that I like. So I'm always scared when it's like birthday, and I'm always like my mom brought the Frozen doll the other day and she was like, yes. And then I feel like shit because I'm always like, yeah, well, I'm that person that doesn't do the dolls. She's probably like, yes, finally, something that doesn't have to do with education here. Like, I noticed she liked to build. So I bought her, granted, it is more of a girly colors, but they're like these, it's got like a wrench, it's got screws, and you build things with it.
That's
because
cool.
I noticed that when we would go to like the playing area, she gravitated to that toy a lot. And I was like, I wonder if she just likes the fact that she's using her hands to build. And I'm like, I want to encourage that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I bought her the toy. And so she loves it. It's a wrench and you're moving and you're building and, you construct whatever you want out of it. It's a really cool toy. If you guys go to my Amazon store, it's on there because I put it on
cool.
there as a toy that I really recommend. But I'm not really picky. I think kids know, like, for example, she loves makeup.
Brooklyn loves makeup. Yeah.
So it's like she loves makeup. Okay, cool. Then she loves makeup. If I had a son and they tend to show like they liked makeup, then I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna be like, no, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I just kind of would be like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if it's just an instinct, but I'd probably be like, hey, that's mommy's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
for sure
I would probably take that away. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's mommy's. If I continue to see the behavior, I would probably start talking to Pete and be like, hey, I don't know if it's just, if we should be kind of like asking soon, like, do you like girl toys? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, at some point if you're watching your child and you really pay attention to the things that they do, if they're doing certain things all the time, you as a parent have to be responsible and start to think like, why? What's happening here? Is there what's going on in their mind? Why?
And what are they consuming? Like you would have to think they're probably like 8, 9, 10 at that point. Because if a 2-year-old grabs mommy's paintbrush, that's adorable.
Yeah, exactly.
But if a 10-year-old does it, like, all right, well now these days, like, did you see that on Instagram, on TikTok? Like, do you already have a phone? Is it on your iPad? What's going on?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And that's part of all these videos that you see. Like, I don't know how much attention you pay to like YouTube Kids. I just started thinking about this, like, maybe we should make sure that whatever's on YouTube Kids is like really strictly YouTube Kids and not like kind of getting through the cracks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Penny loves to watch on her, because remember I told you she only really gets her tablet to play her toys.
Oh, she likes watching it on TV?
She likes watching it on TV. She doesn't really like watching YouTube on there, but if she does, because I only have YouTube Kids on there.
Yeah.
If she does, it's the makeup videos. And I don't know if it's because maybe she feels like it's close enough to her to really see how they're doing it. But I noticed that the other day, she watched someone turn into Ursula, the octopus from Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So she paints all her face purple. So she asked, I could tell that she was asking me for a bigger brush, right? Because the little brush wasn't painting enough of her face. I think you walked in when her whole face was red, no?
Did I? I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't think so.
And then I gave her a bigger brush and she goes, thumbs up, like, yes, this is the one. And she just starts putting the pink eyeshadow all over her face. And I figured why. It's because she watches these little girls turn into Ursula or what's the green one? A Nightmare Before Christmas. One of the girls is bluish.
Okay.
I think that she watches that. It's crazy. She loves the makeup stuff. But that's the only thing she'll watch on there. Everything else, it's her drawing game, her coloring game, her matching game. That's her jam. And then the Spanish games, because it talks to you. I don't know if you've ever, that's a good one for the kids. It's called Endless Spanish.
Okay. It's an app or what?
It's an app. It's really good. I do have the paid.
Endless Spanish.
Yes, I do have the paid version because it only gives you like up to D, A through D. But if you want the entire alphabet, then you got to pay for the rest.
In-app purchases.
Exactly.
Endless Spanish.
Yeah. And so that one we use, and it teaches you phonics versus A, B, C type thing. So it'll say like la, 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 la. So she thinks it's funny because it's a little monster doing it. They got googly eyes.
Yeah.
And so you're pushing it to move over to the letter. And so she's remembering. So it's funny because yesterday, I was on the phone and I was trying to entertain her. And it was, I gave her this piece, an old calendar piece from my planner, and it said August, right? And she goes, the A. She goes, and I'm on the phone trying to book a date for Pete.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone. It's like 8:00 at night, and I turned around. I couldn't help it but to turn around and be like, oh shit, she knows Right.
So
I was
cool.
like, yes. I was like, she's 2. And I'm like thinking like, can you hurry up, sir? Because I need to go, like I wanted to applaud her because I needed her to know like, good job. Like, this is good. So when she said it, I just kept going like this. And then she just kept going, because
Next
that's
letter,
right.
next
Exactly. Because that's the way they do it on that in endless Spanish. But I thought it was pretty cool. When
are we going to get her on endless English? I know. Because her Spanish is good.
Man, I felt so bad whenever Brooklyn was talking to her, and Penny was like looking, and so Brooklyn just grabbed her hand. I said, "Oh, thank God, they just grabbed each other's hand." I was like, because I don't think Penny was understanding nothing. She only understands like, what's your name? Do you want this?
That's a good start.
And I think it's just because of Mickey.
Oh.
I don't think it's because I don't know where else she would hear English. I don't speak no English to her, you know that.
Bruh.
So I don't know where she hears it. Maybe on TV too, because she does watch some of the English stuff. So I think like she knows what lava is because the floor is lava.
It's a good show.
So it's kind of like, okay, so she knows that. But yeah, I don't do Spanish, and I'd be feeling bad sometimes. I'm like,
Or English, you mean?
I'm sorry, English. Yeah. I look at her sometimes. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I know you don't speak English, and these kids are trying to talk to you. So I don't know what to tell you.
I have flashbacks of me in kindergarten, preschool, and I'm like, what's your name? And I'm like, kid?
Yeah, same.
Fuck.
I don't know. Oh, and to end with this thing, okay, another thing, I just said people have children, right? Not women. Now people have periods.
I was going to bring that one up because I didn't know if you had it on the list. I didn't get into that one. Was it just the same thing as the pregnancy? Like guys can have periods as well, like menstrual cycles?
Yes.
Cool.
And then Marissa, when I showed Marissa this, she was like, are you fucking kidding me? I said, no. And she goes, well, my grandma did used to say that men do have periods because they be getting moody too.
Shit.
I was like, okay.
Marissa's funny, huh?
She is. And I was like, people have periods? No, bro. If a male was bleeding from his penis, he'd have a shit attack for a whole
we got problems.
Week, 3 days, whatever, however long your period's going to last, a male would not be able to handle it. I already know if a cold alone is like, oh, I don't feel good. A period would only be...
Hey, don't be expressing how Chingo is when he's sick to everyone else, all right? I keep that to myself when I don't feel good.
I'm just like, people have periods. There's only one gender that has a period.
And if listeners that are offended by that are still listening, I applaud you for listening this far. But like, I like being convinced of what these alternative points are because I just honestly don't get it. In my mind, it does not register as something that makes even a little bit of sense.
But I try. I really want to understand the perspective. Like, give me the science of it. If you can give me that, because
just the rationality.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, even then.
Yeah, just rationalize the point of why.
Not even the science part of it, but
because obviously they're already ignoring the science.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Like, listen, again, like I said, if you want to transition into a man, then great, good for you, because you should walk around feeling how you want to feel and be who you want to be. But please don't tell me that. And it's so hard to say, but please don't tell me that you're a man having a baby.
Yep, right.
It just, no.
And that's how good of people I feel like we are, that we feel bad that saying that out loud
I do.
Could hurt people's feelings, and it can, and it probably does. But again, we have to find some common ground, and it's not going to be in that world.
I just can't. I really, like I said, I'm open-minded. I feel like everybody deserves to be loved. So if you want to date a female, you should. If you want to date a bisexual person, you should be able to be in love with whoever you want to be in love with. But we have to recognize that it's not a man that is having the baby. It is a woman at the end of the day who is doing that. Now, how she physically looks, or how he physically looks and how he physically feels, is another thing. But the functioning happening with your body, that's a female function. And let's just be honest.
Yeah, and I don't want people to get it twisted. Like, we're nice people, like we said, and all that. But also, at some point, some of these people are mentally unhinged, and that's another thing that like you can't talk about, right? Like, no, sometimes they're just mentally unhinged, and it's not brought about enough. Like, some people are super like, this is who I am, and I'm gonna transition into it, and others are like, want everyone else also to think this way and are more on the unhinged side. In my personal opinion, this is Rob's opinion, not Mariswole's opinion. That's just how I see it. Like, we can't ignore that. Some people are mentally unhealthy.
Yeah, and I agree. And even I think I mentioned it on y'all's podcast on the Red Pill, but there's another guy that I follow who is gay, and he's a conservative, and he talked about like how he doesn't agree with transgenders entering the military because it ends up being our tax dollars that pays for these individuals to transition into whoever, whether it be a male or female.
So they can go into the military and then transition?
So basically, I think if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look up the post again. If there's a listener out there, please correct me or check me, because I know I'm already saying this and I'm not correct, but I
Sure.
think Trump approved where if you join the military as like a male, and then you're in the military and you decide to transition, you can go ahead and stay in the military. But you couldn't enter, like you couldn't like what is it called, enlist in the military if you were already transgender.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So that's, I think, what he put in place. And I think when Biden came in, he X'd that out, and it's like now you can enlist even if you're transgender. And so these are great points. And what made me happy was that it was a good point that someone who is part of the LGBTQ community stated. And he said, he listed all the facts. He's like, if they're going to join, that's fine. He's not against it, but the same mental test that I guess you have to take whenever you enlist in the military, they should also take it, because I forgot the statistic number that he said, but most transgender already deal with mental illness, right?
Yeah, totally
and
makes
so
sense.
that's the reason why they're going to psychiatrists and therapists to be able to like mentally, do this change and so forth. He suggested something great that I thought was, yes, if you've transitioned into a male, right, and you've been that now for 10 years, then more than likely you've already like kind of, your brain is already like changed and transitioned also, because you've been in this body, this new body of yours for 10 years, versus if you've only been in it for a year, you're still going through the process yourself of the body changing. So he made a lot of sense when he stated it, because he was like, anybody that enlists in the military has to take the same test.
Right.
So it's not fair that just because you're straight and he's transgender, that y'all don't take the same psych eval. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why is that okay? I don't exactly know the way the bill works, but it was something like that. And I just kind of feel like, because I think women also, right, have to pass the same physical exam.
I don't know if it's the exact same one
or similar or something like that. That's the reason why they don't go to combat, right? It's because they're not able to pass the same.
I don't want to speak out of turn myself.
Yeah, I don't know
they will
either.
Cancel us and put us on notice.
No, I know a lot of women who are in the military.
I do too.
I could never do it personally. Like,
Dawn's sister was in the Navy, I think.
Oh,
in
yeah?
the military, or Army, rather.
man, I can't. I'm not somebody who's
I feel
who
you.
likes that.
More
you
of
know
a
what
reason
I'm
why I
saying?
appreciate those that do serve.
Exactly. Same
'Cause
here. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't do it.
They have a whole different heart, if you ask me. Like it's a different. My respects to people who join the military
sure.
galore. Like, hell yeah. Thank you for your service in advance. If you are listening and you served or are serving, thank you. Like, I couldn't ask for more, because...
Which is why you would expect people to get upset when Mark Cuban here in Dallas is like, we're going to stop playing the national anthem. People are like, come on, man. Is that the decision you want to make right now? And people were like, what? Some people were like, I didn't see it that way as like a bad thing. And then it's just like, look, it's the fact that he said, this is what I said to some people that asked me, it's like that he called it a hot button issue and just chose to just stop playing it because it was just too much of an inconvenience, I guess, or it's just too much of a hot button. I'm like, but then the NBA immediately said, no, everybody has to play it. So just be cool, everybody. And it's just like, what?
It's the national anthem in our country that we live in. It's like... That's why I'm telling you, it's getting so overboard, like to where people are just really, we're not even focusing on what the real issues are out there in the world are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Locally in your own city, you know what I'm saying? Like, and nationally, it's like we're not focusing on the real problems out there, but we're worried about, you know what I'm saying, calling it chest feeding versus breastfeeding, or we're calling it people have periods versus women have periods. What? Like, did y'all not just realize we went through a pandemic? Like, we're still in it. There's still people dying, and there's a new strain. And so what? Wait a minute. You know what else I saw the other day? This is like, what is it called? Hot Topics from, oh my God, The View. You know how they have that whole.
That fucking show.
I was driving and I saw, now you can take a pill to prevent HIV.
Word?
Bro, when I saw that, I was like, I've got to find someone that works like in the HIV AIDS, like department of a hospital or something, because I have got to get educated on that. I want to learn more about that. But I saw that now you can take, I saw a billboard advertising to take a pill to avoid HIV.
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, is a way for people who do not have HIV but who are at high risk of getting HIV can prevent HIV infection by taking a pill every day. Huh. It's from the CDC. Weird. Not weird, but like interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw a billboard for it and I thought,
oh, a billboard.
Yes, advertising it. And I was like, whoa, when did this happen? Like, how long ago has this been around? And you know what I'm saying? Like,
May 13th of 2020 is when.
Oh, so just last year then.
Wow.
So
when taken daily, it's highly effective at preventing HIV.
So during a pandemic, that's what they were creating, huh?
Huh. Funny enough, May 13th. I thought it was March 13th. March 13th was like lockdown day one, I think, which we're creeping up on already. We're a month away from a year that we were supposed to 15-day flatten the curve kind of thing. Interesting, Marisol. So if you can find an expert on this, that'd be an interesting.
Yeah, I really would love to have it, because I just feel like that's another thing. We're not that educated, because I feel like, why haven't we found a cure for that yet?
Because we have treatment, right? We have like treatment,
but why hasn't there been a cure for that? As long as it's been around, as many people who have had it, why have we not found a cure for it?
Well, the conspiracy theorists might say because they want to treat it, not cure it, so that they can continue the stream of income. That's obviously the conspiracy theorist mindset.
I don't know, man. That to me just kind of feels like, big pharma.
Exactly. It's always big pharma.
Just like yesterday, whenever when I did Tip Tuesday and people were asking me, someone asked like, why a home birth? What's the story behind that? And so I was like, I've always wanted to do a video about this and I still haven't done it. I told Pete that I wanted to do I want to play like my birthing video and not show obviously everything, but play my birthing video and kind of explain like, this is what's happening during this. This is what I felt, blah, blah, blah. And just kind of explain the process of it. Because people were asking me why a home birth. And it was weird because the only thing I can tell you is, yes, I know I go down a lot of rabbit holes, guys. Yes, I'm guilty. I know
you have an open mind. You're interested in a lot of stuff.
And so my eyelash girl said that. She was like, you're so busy. How do you always know all these things? I'm like, because I'm just like, I'm such a curious person. Yeah. Like, I'm always like, what? No. You know what I'm saying? And then especially.
Next thing you know, 2 hours later, like,
yes,
shit.
Exactly. And I'll be like in the shower. Oh, because guys, I found this thing, Rob, that you can put in the shower and your phone does not get wet.
You talked about this and I need to know what it is.
Oh my God. I have to like, seriously, somebody would give me a promo code for this shit, because I know people are going to want to see this. But so now that's in my shower, and I don't know how good of an idea it is, because I'll be in the shower and I'll just go through like,
yeah, you should want to like get in and out. But if you have that, I'm gonna stay in there forever.
Exactly. I'm like in there. I'm like, what? No. And I'll be like, Pete, come here. He's like, what? I'm like, can you hear this shit? He's like, no. I'm like, oh my God, put this on your YouTube. You know, I'm all like telling him. But going back to when she told me, she was like, God, I don't know where you find time for this. But I went down a birthing rabbit hole. Oh. And this is before like I even had.
On YouTube?
On children. Yeah. I just like looked up birthing. And the reason why is I remember a long time ago, because my cousin's now like 26, 27. My grandmother made a comment when my aunt was in the hospital and said, America's so weird when they have their children. I was like, why? She's like, I don't know. Everything just happens so fast.
Who said this?
My grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother.
My grandmother did. And obviously because she had all her children with midwives because, you know, going to a hospital back then was like a luxury. Only people with money had babies in hospitals, you know? So she's like, it's so weird. And I just thought, oh, she probably thinks that because she's so old school and, you know, she had all her babies at home. So that's why. So then Ricky Lake did a documentary.
Ricky Lake. I haven't heard that name in forever.
Ricky Lake did a documentary, and I think it's called the Truth of Birthing or the something like that. It's really old because even if you see the like when you watch it, you're gonna be like, oh, you can tell this was done with old footage.
All right, Ricky Lake, The Truth of Birthing. Yeah. Ricky Lake, From Business to Being Born, Pain and...
The Business of Being Born. There you go.
Okay.
What year was that?
08.
Thank
Class
you.
of 08. What's up?
Whoa. I'd already been out of school for 8 years. So I saw that documentary.
Interesting.
So in 08, I was, let's see, like 25-ish. Okay. 26, something like that. So I was like, what? No, not in America, Ricky Lake. How dare you? You know what I'm saying? And so then I went down more rabbit holes because I saw someone. So when you see this, if you ladies watch this, it's really interesting. I never knew that the position that you're put in when you give birth, right, was designed by a male doctor who needed it to be convenient for him as he sits to delivers your baby. Okay. So this is not a comfortable position for a female to have her legs up, be on her back to deliver a baby. Does that make sense? So to deliver a baby, to have a baby, sorry.
Right.
Well, the doctor, I said that on my little rant on my Instagram. When I saw it over again, I was like, that's not what I meant, but whatever.
They get it.
So when you're in that position, it's really not comfortable for the female. It's a convenience for the doctors. So that's the reason why they put you in that position, right? Also, you know, the hospital is a business. Now that I knew, you know, but the hospital is a business. So they need to get you in and out because you're not the only one having babies. So they need to get you out. Hurry up. Is you good? Cool. Because now you got to go because we got another one that's probably going to come in and we're going to need this room. Or that's sometimes why you share rooms with other females who are also in the process of giving birth because, you know, there's so many and there's not enough rooms, right? Mm-hmm. So when I saw all those things, I was just like, why would you have a baby in a hospital then? You know, it's not even convenient for you. You're not even comfortable and you're going through all this. It was like, hell no, I'm really not having no child now. That was even more of a reason why I didn't want to have kids after even watching that. Cause I thought like, this is bogus. This is bullshit that they do this to females. You know what I'm saying? So then it was like, if I ever have kids, and I said, you know, I'm not having my baby at, I don't know where I'm going to find a midwife, but I'm finding me a midwife, you know? And I just said that like, when I watched this documentary.
She had another one. So she made another one in 2018 called, so her name, her director's Abby Epstein. So I was like, I wonder if she's related to Jeffrey Epstein, but I didn't see any relation. But she does documentaries and she made one in 2018 called Weed the People, a documentary about infants with pediatric cancer that she worked for 6 years with Ricky Lake as an executive producer. The film studies the effects of the lack of cannabis legalization in the U.S. and follows
that one's new.
The parents of sick children trying to get access. Interesting.
They also did one called Vaxxed,
I've heard about
vaccines.
That one. Yeah, that's such a touchy
She's
subject.
also part of it, and that was also another reason why I didn't follow the regular schedule for vaccinations with Penny.
She made another one in 2014 called Breast Milk. She's all about that.
She does research, Rob,
Yeah.
to where sometimes like, okay, can you cut that out? Cause that was not really relevant. Cause it's almost like it's a documentary big time. It's almost like you're vlogging cause they're kind of walking. So I'm like, can you hurry up and get to what we need to hear? You know what I'm saying? That's the impatient in me. But, so when I watched that, that's how I was like, fuck that shit. I'm not having no doctor and telling me when I'm having my baby or when I push when this body is ready. And because of that, when I gave birth here at home, that's the mentality I went in with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, guys, our body, God made us. It's to do this function.
Right.
So our body's going to naturally push this child out. The reason they inject you with Pitocin to kind of help, hurry it up is because you is taking too long and the doctor needs to get to the next one. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even know, which on that documentary, it'll tell you what happens to your baby. Sometimes it causes the baby to have a little skip in their heartbeat. Okay, when they inject that.
Yeah.
And then guess what? There caused a little bit of a gap of oxygen going into the brain. And guess what? Those can cause issues when your baby is born. And it's literally like this fast, but just that fastness can cause these issues. It's insane. And so I did more research than just her documentary because, again, guys, I'm someone that just can't go off of one thing that I see. So I started reading midwife books. I started reading more birthing, at-home birthing videos I would start watching. And then that's kind of when I said, if I ever had a child, this is what I'm doing, because these women were happy. They were not, you know how they always show a woman screaming her brains out when they're giving birth. I mean, I'm sure there's some, I'm sure there's some that do it, but you know what I'm saying? My midwife kept asking me if I was okay because I didn't make no noise. She's like, "Are you breathing?" But to me, I was more like, I was more than that.
Yeah,
that was
like,
me
I
more
really
like,
gotta poop.
fucking hey, yes. It was like, Jesus, like, come on, man. And you're not, how they like don't want you to drink nothing or eat anything when you're in. Like when I was giving birth, my midwife said, "Are you hungry?" I said, "No." And she's like, "Okay, make sure she's getting water." Like Pete had my water ready. Like, you know what I'm saying? Make sure she's drinking water, not just ice cubes on your lips, And so it's a whole different ball game. Like I really encourage women to just want, and if you're somebody who needs medication, you know what I'm saying, then this is definitely not for you because you get no medication when you're here. It's all you.
It's all circumstantial.
Yeah, exactly. And then for some people, it's like when I told the story on my on Instagram yesterday, gave my little 2 cents as to why I had the baby at home. Someone said, "Damn, props to you." It's just like, I completely agree with everything you said. She's like, but I'm just not, I can't do that. It's just like, I'm not made for that. I need to have this baby in the hospital. And so one thing is that people don't understand is you also run the same risks at home that you do in the hospital, except nobody's pushing you to hurry up. You know what I'm saying? Like these emergency C-sections, sometimes are not needed. Most of the time are not needed. Those are needed for like when the babies are breached, or, you know what I'm saying? There's maybe the umbilical cord is tied around the neck, you know what I'm saying? Or it's like literally emergency is emergency, not this bitch is taking too long to have this baby. We need to cut her open. Hurry up and have this baby. No, your body naturally will spit that child out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
You know how many, do you ever look up the world counts or the world numbers of births or deaths per day? Like right now, just because we're talking about it, right now there's as of today is February 11th, there's over 16 million births, and the clock, every second, literally, new birth, all day long. People are just being born around the world.
Crazy.
About 385,000 babies are born each day.
385,000
a day. Usually, on average.
So do you see why the hospitals are a business, guys?
Yeah,
They got to get you in and out. And I'm not trying to convince anybody to have a home birth, but I do
it's your personal choice.
Yeah, exactly. But I do encourage for women to and know your rights when you go into, have somebody advocate for you. Even if you want to birth in a hospital, make sure your husband's willing to talk and say, hey, she doesn't want to do that. Like, can she walk around? Why can't you walk around? Why they got you laying there the whole time? No. I walked back and forth from my house. I swayed back and forth. I was in and out of the pool. Sometimes I was in the pool. Sometimes I was out of the pool. You know what I'm saying? it's a process. Like it's not really like natural for you to be laying there waiting, you know what I'm saying, until this baby comes. You should be moving. That's what helps you deliver. Walking. Why do they say go walk so that this baby can come? That's what you need to be doing. You need to be kind of moving so that you can help that gravity and start helping that baby come down. Start helping that baby come down, you know? So it's like, to me, it's like a lot of these things that are happening right now where you're just kind of trying to like tell me that men are the ones doing these things. No, I need you to praise women because you are doing an amazing thing. And that is not a male having that. That is your female body doing that. If you mentally are somebody else, if you physically look and want to feel like somebody else, I got you. I respect that. But your body is doing a female function.
For as awesome as everything you just said is, and as much as I always say I appreciate women, you know, the physical and all the other stuff that they do, it makes it that much harder when y'all trip over dumb shit. It makes men mad and like, man, now I gotta get mad at you for being all fucking crazy and tripping on me, even though you just gave birth to my baby and you like rule the world and all this shit. But why are you tripping?
I know. No, I know. I know what I know.
I know.
I know whenever I'm like, I'll tell Pete, I'm like, man, I know, I'm sorry, I'm tripping right now. I don't get it. Do you understand why you don't get it? I was like, let me tell you why you don't get it. Because this is XYZ. Like, I'm the one that stresses out about this and this and that. And sometimes, you know, like, it's like, what was it? The last podcast we were talking about, sometimes we feel like it's a big deal for us, but it's really not a big deal. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. After I come down from being up, that's why sometimes I stay quiet instead of like
lashing out,
because I know like there's a part of my brain, it's weird, that knows it's really not that big of a deal. It's an easy solution. It seems like, I'm telling you, I be doing that shit on that, like that movie, that Inside Out. Like I seriously, ever since watching that movie, I feel like I talk to myself a lot. Like I talk to the other little emotion. I'm like, calm your ass down. It's not that big of a deal. I'm sure there's a solution. So sit your ass down, you know? And
if you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it. So I'll do stuff like that because I know that it's me. It has nothing to do with him. I'm just mad because he doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so my thing is always like, if I die tomorrow, what are you going to do? Wait for the next female to come around and fix it? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how it is. And then it's kind of like I'll sit there and I'll be like, hey, listen, maybe you should sit down and kind of like, you don't have to do it, but know what is needed to be done. Should I not live tomorrow? You're ready to go. You know, that's always my thing. You know what I'm saying? Should I not be here tomorrow? I don't want you to depend on anybody or my children have to depend on someone else. Like it should be dad. You know what I'm saying? Dad should know what's up and you know what I'm saying? He's about to take over. So it is, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't want to die and be stressed about my children. You know what I'm saying? Like still stressing if they're not getting shit done.
In the afterlife?
Yeah, exactly.
In the afterlife?
I'm still stressing my afterlife for them, you know? So I'm like, man. So I'm like, so it's little stuff like that, but I recognize it because I think sometimes as females, we're wired differently, obviously, you know what I'm saying? We think different. We view things differently. We manage things differently and our brains just don't work the same way. It's a proven fact. We just, like you just said, it's even with toys, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's the same thing. It's with love, with everything. We're just not wired the same. That's why to me, this whole notion of
we're all equal. It's just not the case, man.
It's just really not. Let's just be real. Like we can all love each other and accept each other for who we are. And that's fine. But there's a reason why things are the way they like.
Yeah, you got to strive for freedom to do and express yourself however you want, live life however you want. That's why America's so great. And I think I said this on Chingo's podcast with him and I think Milton Friedman's like a economist said one time, like the society that strives for equality over liberty will have neither. That's why here we need liberty first so that you can do whatever you want versus everybody being on the same playing field. Like it's not that way.
Yeah.
We are all different. Everyone's got a different hand of cards. Everyone's got different obstacles.
Exactly.
Different things to overcome, different approaches. That's what's great about everything.
That's like when, in this is why, like, even when I taught Zumba and I did the whole personal training thing, I'd always like my consultation was first a chit chat, like literally at a coffee shop like you and I, before even I took you as a client.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I needed to know mentally where you kind of were. Are you a person who's like a victim? Are you a person of, you blame everything on your circumstance, which is the reason why you're like this? Are you depressed? Is it anxiety? Is it your husband that puts you down? Like, what was it? It was like, I was fine with just not having a lot of clients. I was okay with that because I taught so many Zumba classes. So usually I only kept it to like literally 5 slots, and that was it, because it was just, I couldn't handle anything else. I had a job and everything. But those 5 people, before I'd accept anybody, I'd go to a coffee date with them and we would chit chat and I'd get to know you, because there's no point in you training if in here you're somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you already come in thinking like, just super negative, me giving you this good positive feedback, I needed to see if you were open to accepting a different point of view, if you were accepting to change, if you're accepting to, you have to be accepting. You can't just always be a victim and not be accepting to change. And not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I had some women whose husbands would show up outside the class to see if they were really there, I'd be like, yes.
That's your problem.
And I'd be like, okay, so for her, I have to encourage her. I knew how I was going to have to encourage this person. I needed to make sure that she felt secure in herself. Like, the problem is that he's seen her change. I don't want her to stop feeling like, because the minute these men would see like they started changing their body, they're losing weight, they'd tell them that that they were still fat. They weren't. They were dropping the weight. They were dropping the weight. They were coming to the gym now, to my class looking cute. They dress up now. Why? Because they felt better about themselves. They weren't borrowing their husband's t-shirts anymore. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so to me, I've said this before, it was the most satisfying thing ever. I was like, yes, I'm doing something right. Even if I don't care if you're not learning fitness, but if I'm encouraging confidence in you, I've still succeeded in my opinion. That's a
victory for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, I don't give a shit if, you know what I'm saying, if you don't like my class, but if you're taking confidence away from here, then, then I feel like I've done something good. So it would be great when I would see these women just kind of like start to feel like, you know what I'm saying, they loved themselves, they felt better about themselves, to where they caused their husbands to come check to see if they were really in Zumba class and not with somebody else, because they were walking out of their houses looking good, wearing cuter workout clothes because they felt better about themselves, and now they're insecure, right?
Yeah.
So they're coming over here checking to see if the wife is there. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was always like, yes, like, listen, I'm not saying go against what your husband is saying, but you have every right to feel good about yourself. If you are a confident woman, your house radiates different.
It's true.
Your house is just going to run different. Your husband is going to see you different. And if he's probably bashing you, it's because he's feeling insecure about himself, and he's feeling like, whoa, wait a minute. She doesn't need me as much anymore. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? I can't put her down. My words don't, matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't insult her anymore, because they see this confident woman and they immediately feel intimidated. Like, hell no, she's not going to, you know what I'm saying, be powerful in my house, And there's a lot of men out there that feel like that. And a lot of women kind of just go with the flow. And then they're never 100% happy. And then, they're going through some kind of depression, which for some people leads to overeating and, other things. And then you kind of pass on that negativity to your children if you have some as well, or to the friends that you're around. You know what I'm saying? Your negative vibes go around there, and then you're feeding that. And it's just like, I met so many women teaching Zumba. To me, I learned way more than just teaching fitness. It was an amazing thing that I got. And that's probably, I don't really miss teaching the class. I miss like just being able to encourage women and just watching
that's kind of what you're doing with this podcast.
Yeah, that is. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much. It's because I feel like, listen, when someone says, thank you so much for sharing your information, I'm always like, if I can just, whatever I can do to like just help you gain a little bit of knowledge and something you didn't know about, or if I know a trick or a tip on something and that's made my life easier, why am I not going to share it with someone else? You know what I'm saying?
I know we're used to saying like life is short, because if you like start to really get in your head and you have like an existential crisis, you might feel like life is really short. What am I doing? But also, more often than not, we should think that life is really long, and we really need to do the best that we can to maximize our experience in this long journey. And when you're really feeling down on yourself or like shit, or you're in a bad relationship, it can make it seem like this is not worth it, you know?
Yeah. Or like, you know, I met just women who just like were in bad relationships, so they just feel bad about themselves, and it would break my heart, because, you know, I'd be like, how the fuck do they allow a man to take that?
Anybody,
you know what I'm saying?
Letting anybody to have that much control over your emotions is very bad for your brain.
I used to just be like, hell no, I'd be damned if anybody is going to do that to me. You know what I'm saying? I used to be like, oh, me and her need to talk. Like, I'd just be like ready to go hang out with her, because I'd be like, this is not.
Anytime
like,
if any woman feels like that, they should just see the Her logo pop up in their head. Like, exactly. Her, I'm her.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Because I just feel like you can be like, just, that's why I don't say I'm a feminist or anything like that. I'm somebody who encourages women empowerment, and I encourage you to love everything there is about being a woman, because it's the best thing ever. I would never want to be a man. I don't want nothing that has to do with a man. I think it's so boring to be a man. Like,
we got that male privilege, though.
You know,
we got
there
that
you go.
masculinity and whatnot.
So to me, it's like, I don't, but you know, there's people out there who feel like a man, and
Sure.
I get it. You know what I'm saying? But to me, I think like sometimes even like the way women are catty with each other, I just be like, why are you so mad, girl?
Calmate. Who hurt you?
Man, you got to check your little heart, boo-boo. And you got to check your head, because you're the problem, not that person. You know what I'm saying? Like, just when I see somebody that just like doesn't like connect with me, I don't ever feel like, they see that bitch? No, I don't do that. To me, it's like, why am I not relating about her? Like, why is there a disconnect here? You know what I'm saying? And I'll figure it out really fast after getting to know them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I just kind of like, yeah, this is a person that I'm just probably gonna have as an acquaintance. They're definitely not in my...
It's like layers to an onion. There's so many layers to pull back when it comes to a lot of women who have been, and people in general, not just women, but we're talking about women right now, that have been through like trauma, as Marissa would say.
Childhood trauma
And relationship trauma and life trauma and all work trauma, all that stuff. If you're not good at dealing with it, you have all these layers that people have to peel back to actually get to who you are as a person.
Exactly.
And that can take some time, and some people ain't willing to put the time in, and you're just going to be a walking time bomb, ticking time bomb out in the world, just waiting to explode on people.
I just never like get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never get like, it's like the blame game. Like, they'll blame anything else but themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's a hard pill to swallow, but sometimes it's just you.
It is you. Most of the time it is you, boo-boo. Like, if you have an issue, it's most of the time it is you, because...
Oh, Joseph scared the shit out of me.
Joseph just walked in, guys, and he scared the crap out of me.
I was like, who's here?
I know. Thank you. Okay, it's all right. Thanks, appreciate it. So to me, it's like, I just feel like, man, you should really work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Before you criticize. Like, when you see someone doing big, like I always say this, instead of maybe like criticizing for doing big, right? Like, maybe see what they're doing so that you can do, and maybe follow that footstep. And now you ain't got to be a hater. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're human. We naturally kind of hate, but I always say, like, man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna hate right now because she's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll say that, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'll like say, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna hate right now because she's doing that, you know?
But then you're like, man, where's the blueprint? Like, where can I see the blueprint?
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah. And then I'll start following them. I'll start seeing what else they're doing. And then I'm like, okay, I see. This is how that happens. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, mine's a good hating. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like,
I agree. I'm totally with you. Yeah.
It's like almost like how you say, like, oh, why are they so pretty? You know what I'm saying? It's that
frustratingly pretty.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, it's like, oh, why can't I just get it and figure it out as fast as they did? Like, why is it taking me so long? Damn, you see that? Like, I'll just be like, man, you see her, she's doing that shit. I ain't gonna lie. And like I'll always say that. I guess it's not hating, but it's kind of like I'm gonna hate right now because she's doing that, you know.
But a part of that, like having that, like whatever you want to call it, hate, I guess, or like desire to do what they're doing, motivates you. So like it ignites that little that little fire, and then finding the blueprint, following them, and kind of listening and kind of picking stuff up is what gets you, it catapults you in that direction. If you're just a hater and then just like ignored it and went away, like you're just gonna find someone else to hate and then someone else to hate, and you're not gonna do shit.
Yeah, that's just, I just don't ever be like, my mom, man, it's gonna go back to Angeles here. Yeah, my mom, I think, did a good job about that.
Yeah,
you like, you know, she used to always say, or whenever like I used to say, oh, I want this, right? Or whatever. I'm like, because blah, blah, blah. So she goes, wait, why do you want it? I'm like, oh, my friend had these new shoes on. They're so badass. She goes, okay, so do you want them because you like them or because your friend has them? And I'm like, what? Because I like them. I never understood why she asked me that. But I guess for her, it was like, don't be trying to like don't be a copycat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Are you doing this because you like it? You want to rock it because you like it, or because you want to be like your friends? You want to be like someone else? She used to always say like, yo soy quien soy, no me parezco a nadie, you know? And so like, that was always her thing. She used to always say that to me. Like, yo soy quien soy y no me parezco a nadie. Acuérdate de eso. And she would always be like, okay. But you know, you're
Where's your mom from?
Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah. So she would say shit like that, and I just would always be like, okay, I don't really know what that means. It wasn't until you got a little bit older, you're like, that's what she's saying. She's saying like, and it's true, guys. Listen, if you really think about it, we are all uniquely, and I'm going to end with that because I got to pee really bad. But we are all uniquely made. We're not supposed to all be the same. Yeah. We're not supposed to all look alike. We don't all have to get lip injections and have high cheekbones and, you know what I'm saying? And big asses, small waists, big boobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't all have to look like this. You know, I guess I'm going to say, I guess Kim Kardashian kicked off that look, right? I don't know who kicked that look off.
I guess so.
I don't know if it was her.
She was definitely the trailblazer, you know.
Yeah, you know, we don't all, if you want to look like that, that's, of course, I encourage you. If you want to enhance whatever you want to enhance because you want to feel better about yourself, go for it, right? But don't do it because it's the latest trend. Everyone's doing it. You know what I'm saying?
It goes back to what we were saying. If you're mentally stable and strong and that's still what you want to do, then
of course.
That's cool.
Exactly. That's how I feel. It's like, when people are like, well, we'll send, which is a compliment. So thank you if you've ever sent me that message where they're like, I'm always happy that you're real and you're natural. Yeah, because I choose to be. But I'm not saying that if like there was like, like, okay, for example, the tattooing of my eyebrow, the microblade of my eyebrows. I fucking hated that I didn't grow no hair there. I didn't get it. Like, why do I grow armpit hair, but I can't grow eyebrow hair? Come on, God, you could have hooked me up with some eyebrow hair. So to me, it was like, yeah, when I saw that, I said, hell yeah, I'm getting that done. I'm getting them eyebrows put on me because, I'm tired of looking like I just got this little peach fuzz on my eyebrows,
I know you got to pee and we're going to wrap it up, but I'm sure people might be wondering, mommy makeovers, have you ever considered it? Are you ever going to do it?
So my babysitter told me that. She was like, after you have this baby, why are you going to because she would see me weighing food and all that. She's like, I don't know how you do that. She's like, that's way too much work. She's like, when you have this baby, why don't you just go to Mexico, go to Monterrey? She goes, I know really good doctors and you're done. So I have a feeling just because of how big I get, I saw it as I was starting to drop weight here before I got pregnant, that I was having like lower stomach, loose skin. But Sean really thought that this was going to take time. It was going to firm back up, but it was going to take time. He felt like that, right? I look at myself naked every day before I jump in the shower. So I felt like that was going to be an area where it was going to end up being loose skin. Mm-hmm. And so I that's the only thing that I think I would do. I would want to drop all the weight that I'm going to do on my own. Like I want to be, after this baby, I'm legit going back to like, I want to be fit. I want to see the muscle definition in my arms. I miss being able to like point and see the cut on my shoulder. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I love to see the line of my tricep. I do.
See the pumpkins on your shoulder.
Exactly. The pumpkins on my shoulder. Like, I love that. I love having a flat chest. Yeah. I really do. I don't know that I don't want to be as thin as I was when I compete. Like, I don't.
That'd be so hard for you to get back to.
It is so tiny. Like I said, I gave Mickey a lot of my clothes. listen, I was a grown adult. There's no reason why my 12-year-old is able to use old clothes of mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be that. But if I can be a athletic 4, 6, I was in a 6 right before I got before I got pregnant, but I wasn't an athletic 6. There's a difference for me. So I can be a size 6, yes, but I wasn't athletic like I was before. So I kind of want to be in that range. I want to have an athletic body like I have usually. After I compete, I like where I'm at. It's like the right amount of meat and the right amount of smallness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I want to be. Sustaining it is obviously the hardest thing for anybody who's trying to, diet or anything like that. But that's where I would want to be. If when I get there, I have loose skin, I do want to remove it. I don't want loose skin. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. It's like, but I want to work on doing it all on my own. Here's why. I want for my girls to see that, yes, there's cosmetic surgery out there. And yes, you can have it if you want it. But listen, we can do it on our own also. And it's really just about discipline. It's about you mentally wanting something. And it teaches you that if you really want something, you'll get it yourself. Because although you have to keep up with surgery, right? Mm-hmm. You have to you still have to work out in order to stay cute, right? Like even when you get that done, there is nothing like knowing that maybe this is for me, right? And I'm not speaking for everybody. There is no other better feeling when you wake up in the morning and you see like you've got a little 6-pack starting to happen. You're like, holy shit, I did that. I did that, man. It's a very, 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 very mental experience. It's a very it's just discipline. And if you can make discipline to be healthy, then I think everything else is great in life. Then that means you'll have discipline for anything else in life, because a lot of the things that we struggle with is discipline with nutrition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is why I think a lot of our habits are just there because of the fact that, which is where diabetes comes from, which is where high blood pressure comes from. All these things that happen don't just happen because they're hereditary. There's, what's her name? Dr. Rhonda Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
She said there's no such thing as hereditary diabetes. Basically what happens is it's hereditary eating habits. Because obviously if we see our parents, we cook certain way, especially Mexican food, it's so good. I mean, come on now. I mean, hands down. So if you cook a certain way, there's oils, there's this and there's that, you're more than likely going to like those taste buds, and you're probably going to cook the same way. So you keep passing it down, you know what I'm saying? And that's where the diabetes and, all this and that happens. So, I just, I want for my girls to know that it is possible for you to do things on your own. And, loose skin, I can't do nothing about. Let's just be real, except for just let it chill. I'm just going to let it hang.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's going to happen. Just saggy
wear Lululemon all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be saggy skin, and that's pretty much what's going to happen. I don't want to see saggy skin personally, especially if I've already kind of pretty much worked my way to get where I want to be. Yeah. I just don't want to see it there. So that's probably the only thing I would get done. And
back to the fillers and Botox.
Yeah, back to the fillers. I think that would be the only thing I would do. But I'm really, guys, I have a baby at home because I don't like hospitals.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
That's a good
So
point.
it's like, hospitals to me are tricky, like
They freak me out.
Yeah, not only that, it's just like, watch me be that 1%
Oh my God,
who gets this done, and I end up with like one butt cheek bigger than the other. It's like one implant didn't work out for me. It's like I always think about those things. It's like I am going to end up being that one person. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, oh my God.
My cell phone's constantly blowing up.
It's like I thought I sent him the directions, and let's see here.
We'll wrap it up so you can focus.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm continuously, my husband's out of town. I did not go this time around to tour. So it's been a mess to the point where, how about they got kicked out of the hotel
Why?
over an iron?
What?
Long story.
Okay, that was for another episode.
In another episode, yeah. I was like, see, that's where I was telling you about where I had to come down. I was like, Jesus Christ, Pete, like, I guess I'll never be able to stay home with the girls. I'll always have to travel.
Oh my God.
It's like one of those things.
0 to 100
Yeah,
real
exactly.
quick.
Because I was just like, how y'all getting kicked out over an iron, bro? Like, and I'm calling like corporate of this hotel, like, somebody better give my money back. You know what I'm saying? Like, over an iron, it's not my fault you're low on staff. You know what I'm saying? You don't have enough staff. I'm like, just a big mess last night. And I was just like, to the point where it's like, Pete calls me after the show. He's like, hey, so they're gonna, they're not gonna let Javi and Bryson back in. So what I do, I said, Pete, it is 11 o'clock at night. I want to shower and sit down and do nothing. I was like, so please figure it out. Okay. And he just goes, okay, love you, bye. I was like, love you, bye. Because I was like, it's 11 o'clock at night. Like, I told you, I was on the phone booking these dates for him. So I just finished handling that. Jerry was in town. I was supposed to go to his show to make sure everything turned out fine, but Luisa's mom passed away. So I had to make, you know what I'm saying? I had to take, I told you, I took Penny to go play so that I could finish some work on my phone. On top of that, I transferred everything from the laptop onto my phone. Mm-hmm. And so that while she was playing, I could be filling out shit and doing stuff. And then I came home, I still have to play, I still have to be with her. Then I jump on the call to book these dates. And now Pete's calling me that they're getting kicked out. I was like, what? No, you know what I'm saying? And then Jerry's like, hey, dude, I think this paper is wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his payout wasn't right. I was like, what? No. And I was just like, I'm going to bathe now. And I'm going to enjoy watching this lady review her Birkin bag on YouTube. I was like, and I'm going to bed. And I'm just not going to deal with nobody anymore.
Y'all males figure it out.
Y'all need to figure it out. So on that note, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. And I hope you guys are enjoying these podcasts. We're on number what now, Rob?
This is going to be, I believe, 35.
35. I am going to do, I want to do like an awesome giveaway when I get to 50. And then I want to do another giveaway when I'm at 100. Because I just think that that's like a big milestone for me to even get to that many episodes. Because I was barely at like 12 when you jumped on. No, how many did I have on?
We started at 24, so I think this is like the dozen since the first of the year. So we've done 12 in 2021, and this is like your 2.0 version. Is that what we're calling it? The 2.0 version of Her Lounge. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Listen, if you're not on yet, please go to Her Lounge podcast and and you know what I'm saying, follow us on social media as well.
Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes.
Yes, please. And if you're watching it on YouTube, thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. Continue to watch and leave comments below. Let me know what kind of topics would you like to guys what y'all want to see too, because I want to be able to inform and be there and anything that you guys are curious about, I want to put it out there, because I know I put out there things that I'm curious about, and we talk about things that I'm big on right now. So, but I do still want to do a segment on where I let a follower or a listener kind of like be my podcast guest. So I still haven't got no emails on that. So herloungepodcast@gmail.com. If you guys want to be my host, come on, you can join me and Marissa on Girl Talk and we talk about whatever. You can join us to do a Zoom.
We could even do maybe like a call-in episode where they call into you and Marissa.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We'll set up a number that they can call into. We'll take calls live.
Would love that, because I think
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think we'd have some serious, crazy conversations.
With you and Girl Talk, the caller, what do you want to call it? The call-in episode.
Yeah. 1-800-GIRL-TALK.
I don't know if we can get that number, but we can get a number similar to it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. Talk to y'all next time.
See ya.